Dove and Myrna, turning this mic over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy.
I can see happy with you. Happy is always joining you
Yeah.
for your talks.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. And I see Michele, Glorian, Regis, Sharon. So everybody's invited to share.
Yeah.
I'd like to start off by just saying that I really enjoyed your question last night uh, at Glenn Hoberman's meeting. And we had Sebastian there, and your question was about why do I have to wait till 2033? Why can't I have peace now? I like that. Can I ask you a question? I heard his answer to you,
Mm.
but I didn't quite get it. Can you share what it is that he said to you?
Yes. 2033. I heard Rob talk about that year as well. Rob, I believe, got it from Sebastian's book, Age of the Heart, that 2033 is going to be the telling point. That's when we're going to see results. So my question at first was, okay, I really believe I'm in that frequency right now, that energetic frequency that we speak of, the age of the heart. Rob Schwartz puts it in terms of fourth dimensional energy, and you read a lot about that. And I said, I really feel as if I'm in that energy now. I do feel it because I feel that everything is unfolding for me just as I wanted to. It's sort of, I feel as if I'm in that flow. But at the same time, I can't help but recognizing that there's wars going on, that there's havoc going on, that there's destruction going on. I can't help feeling that. And in 2033, is that all going to go away? Am I going to see the world at peace? And his explanation was that you're going to carry love in your heart. You carry love in your heart. The more people that carry that love will, that's what will really measure. Okay, that's really all that, for the most part, will be seen. The love, the great love that's going to come about because it's building now. It really is the age of the heart. And then I had this like this feeling, this epiphany. Well, is it because we are experiencing the love in our heart right now? We're starting to experience it because we are in that frequency, in that dimension, that I can feel the difference for the most part. I mean, it feels different, and things are going faster and faster, it seems. And my feeling is that, well, is it because we're releasing all the old energy from our hearts now? People are starting to now build on the energetic frequency of love. So is it because we're releasing all of this bad energy, really, because we are throwing it away for the most part? And is that why I'm seeing all of this? Is that why all of this is taking place? Because people are purging their hate, and this is how it's looking. So I mean, that's how I kind of got from what he was saying. That's what I sort of, felt the interpretation was. And I got to tell you, I mean, he is really someone that you feel this wonderful energetic vibration. He just has this that you feel it from him. You recognize that he is truly a master. And I was happy to tune in last night, because I heard that he was going to be there answering questions. And I didn't know he was going to be answering questions. I just wanted to be in his presence and hear what he had to say. And what did you feel? How did you get
Well,
what did you get from it?
I totally agree with you. I don't always go every Monday night because we have our own meeting here at 8, ends at 8, and I'm not always up to. I'm usually a little tired, but I went last night because I knew that he was going to be there, and I didn't know he was going to answer questions. I'm very happy that the whole thing was about questions and answers that he answered. I think I really got to know him last night for the first time. Of course, people know him through his book, and I confess I didn't really read his book. Like, I don't read books. I mean, that's, I said that 20 years ago. I don't read books outside of the Course of Miracles. And that's true for this. I mean, I look by opening up to whatever page I open up to, and if it speaks to me, I keep reading. So last night, of course, we were on chapter 22, which is called Full of Love, and I opened up and something spoke to me immediately. It says, how can you do that? And the answer is, let yourself be loved. And in the next paragraph, he says, above all, remember that we are but a thought away from each other. With a simple, I love you, to me, you bring heaven to earth. And you find that at the bottom of page 175 of his book. And the funny thing is, my book says really the same thing. The open mind, loving yourself. And the funny thing is, loving yourself as a title came from my recognition that that's exactly what A Course in Miracles is all about. Course in Miracles is about removing what is not love, so that the love, which is always here, doesn't go away, becomes illuminated, becomes totality. Talking about totality, uh, uh, I think a lot of people talk about yesterday's it's a total eclipse of the sun, and I'll go back to it. I don't want to kind of leave the topic we're on now. Uh, I got to really know Sebastian from his answers. I mean, some of the questions, yours was good. Some of them were much more probing and deep. And I'm saying, I want to hear his answer. His answers were extremely loving, extremely deep, and I recognize, his ability to answer those questions and the way he did is really says so much about him. Like if you follow Ken Wapnick, for instance, which I do, it's the way he answers people's questions that you really get to know Ken and his understanding of the course. What a person teaches is one thing. How he answers the question in a loving way is really completely a deep look into the person's heart, the age of the heart. So thank you for your question. Uh, he seemed to answer it to your liking, although it was so funny. You said, I'm 82. Do I really have to wait 11 years?
No, I didn't. I didn't say that. I said I'm 82 and I'd like to, I hope I'm around. I'd like to stick around to see it happen, if it's going to happen. And I want you to stick around too, Dove. And that's really how I want to be here another 9, 10 years to see it, and then 12 years thereafter.
I'm 84 months. And so that's 9 years from now. And I'm saying, will I really be around in 9? Nobody knows anything. On the other hand, somebody in the group, a woman, I can't remember her name, it was towards the end of the questions. She might have been the last person to ask the questions, as a matter of fact. She mentioned she asked for guidance, and she got the answer in 3 initials. I don't know if you remember: H, I, and M. H period, I period, M period. And she said, you know what it stands for? So I said, well, yeah, I want to know what HIM stands for. And she said it: heaven in me. And I realize that that is the truth. You know, we say that by accepting the atonement for ourselves, we return ourselves to heaven, but we're not returning ourselves to anything. We're already here. Accepting the atonement is I am in heaven when? What, in 10 years? No, I'm here now. Heaven is now. The fact that I watch the boob tube and I want to see what's going on in the world doesn't take away from the fact that heaven is here now. Heaven is here. Heaven in me, HIM. Over to you, Myrna. Hi.
Heaven me. Yes. Yes, he answered everybody's question basically the same way. And that's really, to me, shows that it's all coming from the heart. The way he answered questions all came from love, feeling love, being love, knowing love, and those, no matter what anybody really presented to him, he answered it in such a way. Yes, he answered their question, but he did it in the form of love. And it goes to show you that, there really is just one answer. It's just love. I really enjoy, listening to him and watching him because he has a very soothing presence about him. I saw a movie Saturday in the theater. It's called One Life. And this is what an incredible story. It's a true story, and it's with Anthony Hopkins. If you get a chance, you might want to go see it. I mean, I think that sort of shows love in its highest form, whereas he's a man that manages to mastermind and save 669 children from being murdered by the Nazis. He masterminded that, getting them on trains, but what he did was the impossible. I mean, it showed that he managed to do it, even though it seemed impossible. And nothing stopped him. He knew that he had a mission. That was his mission. In fact, I thought of Rob Schwartz, thinking that, boy, this would be perfect for him. In fact, I texted him about this to see that movie, because this is pre-birth planning in its finest, at its finest, because this man was a young man who had a mission. And he succeeded, really. And, it's always a matter of, he really chastised himself, though, because he felt he didn't do enough. He got the trains leaving from Prague, from Czechoslovakia. The kids would go to Prague because Prague was not yet occupied by the Nazis. But the last two trains never left Prague because of Nazi occupation. They occupied Prague, and the last two trains were obliterated with the children on it. And he always felt that he's always very depressed about that. He couldn't get instead of thinking about what he did do, he focused on what he didn't do, which is what we all do. I mean, this was like, we could understand that. And then at the end, it gets out, the news gets out. He was very humble. He kind of kept to himself, and he's invited to this television program. And he goes, he gets tickets. His wife said, well, let's just go. It's a silly program. And it turns out at the very end, practically all the children that he saved were in the audience. And at the end, of course, they each get up, not each of them, but many of them tell the stories. And at the very end, you see that on the end, when they show the credits at the end of the movie, they tell you that because of him, 6,000 people are alive today. I mean, so excuse me, it's called One Life. It is an and Anthony Hopkins was incredible. He really was. I mean, he really emotionally pulled it off. So
that on Netflix?
No, it's in the theater. It'll come on Netflix probably, or Prime, but right now it's in, and that's what we saw. We saw it in the theaters. There isn't too much to see in the theater, so when I saw that, and it was recommended to me, I said, it'll be a good opportunity to get out and go to the movies to see something worthwhile. And, today's lesson even, I'm not even, the title of the lesson, I was reading it, is "My part is essential to God's plan for salvation." And the lesson tells us, it hits you. God's plan only wants us to be happy. That's all we really have to do, is be happy. That's it. We ask nothing more of you, to be happy. It says that in the lesson. And it got me thinking about how hard it is to be happy all the time. Even that's a chore, being happy. And I, felt that we need to work on that. We really do. As Sharon said earlier in the earlier session that I was listening to, that we're on the Course in Miracles is a rescue mission, and it rescues us from ourselves. And I related to that too. I thought that was very good. And we were handed something that has brought us to the beauty of our brothers, ourselves, loving ourselves. I love you too, Sharon. She put up a little heart. Yeah, and so I turn it over to you, Dove.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Glenn doesn't allow chats to be in his meetings. Lynn and I are part of another meeting of his. Thank you, Michele. I love all of you too, for sure. So I've been attending one of Glenn's meetings now for way over a year, maybe a year and a half. And I remember his first meeting or two, he allowed the chat to be there. And then one day he took the chat away. And I asked him, why did you? Because if you know me, I do most of my talking in the chat. And he says, I think it takes people's attention away. Well, it's his meeting. I don't agree, but obviously we have no chat. So in the meetings for the Age of the Heart, there is no chat. So when you said, I'm 82, I wanted to say, you don't look it. You certainly don't look it, but there's no chat, so I couldn't say it. Yeah, today's lesson 100. My part is essential to God's plan for salvation. I'm just going to I put it in the chat. Ken Wapnick's commentary is, every encounter becomes a holy encounter. For each is found Jesus' gentle reminder that because he is always with us. And that's the same thing as heaven is with us. Of course, every encounter is a holy encounter. God's one son is as well, because we never left heaven. So every encounter is a holy encounter. When you meet anyone, remember it's a holy encounter. Now, as it happens, because I'm so familiar with that quote, because we have it in ACIM Gather now in the banner for over a dozen years now. And it comes from text chapter 8, section 3. And whoever put that up as a quote, I don't think it was Ken, it was somebody else, obviously. It's really text chapter 8, section 3, not 2. In fact, I just checked in chapter 8, section 2, just to make sure that I wasn't mistaken. And I did find something that was interesting. Somehow, wherever you go, it's synchronicity. So chapter 8, section 2, paragraph 4 starts out, the ego tries to teach that you want to oppose God's will. So that's the ego's job, to teach you to oppose God's will. And Jesus goes on, this unnatural lesson cannot be learned. And the attempt to learn it is a violation of your own freedom, making you afraid of your will, because your will is free. Now, because your will is free, you're even free to hurt yourself. You're even free to deny yourself. And that's how we got here. I'm now thinking of yesterday's eclipse of the sun, and almost, well, here in the New York area, which obviously was all over the local TV stations, they were saying, well, we didn't have totality because we were at 90%, but we did have unity, and that was about everybody was here for the same purpose, to watch the solar eclipse. So there was unity, but not totality. And that's so funny because totality is mentioned in the Course several times, especially in chapter 7, section 7. It's called the totality of the kingdom. And then the last paragraph, it says, hey, listen, if you really want to understand totally, which the ego says, well, I want to understand totally. I don't understand this. I got to keep reading. I'm sorry, Charlie. He says, if you want to understand totally, you got to understand totality. Now, it's impossible for the ego to see or understand totality because it's the author of fragmentation, of separation, of parts, of littleness. It has no way of seeing totality. It's like seeing a puzzle with all the little jigsaw pieces all over, like 1,000 pieces. And well, you can put them all together, maybe, if you're smart, but the totality of the puzzle is not available to the one who deals in parts, only one who sees wholeness. Now, the funniest thing is, today, this morning, as I'm walking happy, I had this thought, which it didn't come to me until today. Einstein was once, Albert Einstein was once asked the question, did God create the universe? And he said, well, if you knew how incredibly precise everything in this universe is, you wouldn't ask the question because everything happens so precisely. So if it was off by 1/10 of 1%, the whole thing would just fall apart. But everything happens perfectly. This is what Einstein said. Now, if you're watching the eclipse, you got to ask yourself the following question. How is it possible that the moon, which is 250,000 miles from Earth, happens to fit exactly like you're putting a quarter on top of a quarter or $50 on top of it, fits exactly on the size of the sun, which obviously is 93 million miles away, and I think it's something like a 1.5 million miles wide or whatever it is. The sun is only like a quarter of the Earth's size, but they fit exactly, precisely right on top of each other. How is that possible? But Einstein said, no, the whole universe is like that. Everything happens precisely and accurately. And he's basically saying only the divine could have done that. Now, if you're doing the Course in Miracles, you say, no, wait a minute, God doesn't know about this world. There is no world. I mean, he tells you that in lesson 132. But wait a minute, who was it that made this world? Well, we like to say the ego, but what is the ego except that part of us that likes being us? So the Son of God, who has the same divine power, now you can either use it to create and be a co-creator, or you can use it for miscreations. And we made a world of separation, which is a world of miscreations, but because, as it says under trust in the teacher's manual, teachers of God have trust in the world because they recognize it's not governed by the laws that the world made up, the ego made up. It's governed by a power that is in us. Now, that power is our divine power, a power that is in us but not of us. So now you can see how incredibly amazing when you see a total eclipse, so that one fits right over the other, even though they are millions of miles away, and it's so disproportionate in size. One is a quarter of the Earth's width, and the other, I think, I don't know, is 2.5 million miles wide. You gotta laugh. You simply gotta laugh. Over to you, Myrna.
Yeah, you speak about the eclipse. My grandson, I mean, people want to see the eclipse. My grandson drove to another state to see the eclipse. People, you see it on Facebook, they're wearing sunglasses, and it's just an incredible, an incredible time. You know, we don't see it that often. I think it happens, what, I don't know, every 100 years, something like that, that we get to see something like that. And you're right, you know, the mystery behind it all is just fascinating. It is. And you spoke about the ego, that we are opposing God's will, and that's why we're so fearful. And we have to be fearful because the ego doesn't really give us any answers. There's so many different parts to the ego that we don't understand. We don't understand it, and you have to be afraid of what you don't understand. Things happen. The ego will give you all many different answers to the same question, depending on how it feels, and how it wants to justify, and what it wants to how it wants to show its belligerence, when it really is nothing. I mean, the ego is just it's just really nothing to be afraid of. Ken Wapnick says that. I've heard him say that in one of his talks, that we're so fearful of something that has no power over us. And the ego turns it around, twists it, as it does everything else, and it makes us be fearful of God, because we have a different will. We think we have a different will of God, from God, and we try to exercise that will, but we only come up shorthanded all the time. When we oppose God and we rely on ourselves and think that the ego is going to save us, but the ego saves us from nothing. And what we begin to learn, and was put before the Course in Miracles, is a path. It's a rescue mission from ourselves, and that is what we're getting back to collectively. As a whole, humanity is recognizing this, and this is where the energy, the light is coming from. There's a lot of light, because people are beginning to see that we really want to get back to God. This is a phase that's really happening, and I can't help feeling that. I feel that we're getting back to God. I feel it in my heart, in my soul. Everything, every fiber of my body tells me that, and I'm in touch with that. That knowing that God is, bringing us home. And last night, Sebastian said that everything's going faster and faster and faster, it seems. Did he say that? Was it? No. I think it was Rob Schwartz who said that everything is just, seems to be speeding up. And that's what the celestial speed up is all about. Is that right, Doug?
I think Sebastian said it too, by the way.
What is that?
I think Sebastian also spoke
Did he
about.
say that?
Yes, he spoke about it. Yes.
Yes, that's right. We're accelerating. That's right. He used the word acceleration. I remember that. We're accelerating. Rob also used it in different words, but we are, and I do feel as if things are just going faster and faster. And and I don't even want to slow down, because I think when we're away from the density of third dimensional consciousness thinking, that really slowed things down. Everything happened in slow motion. Now that we're kind of moving ahead, and recognizing that we are on our own mission, really, to become one with God. And we're bringing all of this with us, with the love that we're feeling in our hearts, and this is what Sebastian said too, is also bringing it with us. The more we feel, it's not going unnoticed. It's a very necessary component to becoming back to our creation, our one creation with God. And it's just such an amazing subject because it is a feeling to me that it's undeniable. And the wonderful thing that I feel is that there's no fear left because I just know that everything will work out. I've seen so many miracles take place that how can you deny that? How can you say, well, one miracle is better than another? Yes, I saw a previous miracle. Will I see another? It's not like that. It's like once you accept the miracles, recognizing there's nothing to fear, they just come your way. And I just know that all I have to do is be happy. And that's what I need to work on. Now, the ego doesn't want to be happy all the time, but we also have the tools to become aware of the fact they're not feeling happy. When we're not feeling happy, recognizing, get away from that. You can do it. It can be done. How do we do it? We do it with each other. We do it by recognizing blessings. I like that sign you have behind you. Blessings. That's what we are experiencing. And they're available. And it's wonderful to let go of fear. It really is. I honestly feel that I have let go of it. Knowing that God is there. The communication is loud and clear. Turn it back to you, Dove.
All right. And thank you so much. That was beautiful sharing.
Yeah.
Something you said made me think of, this whole conversation is about, we never left God. That's what accepting the atonement is, that heaven is here now with us now. The idea that I can watch the boob tube and looking out in the world and seeing what's going on 6,000 miles away, and in a world that was made as a TV screen or a movie screen, so we could project our beliefs in. And I think you said the right thing when I remember what it is that you said that reminded me of all this. You brought me back to what it says in chapter 8, section 2, it was a mistake on the thing when they said Ken Wapnick quoted this thing, and it doesn't come from chapter 8, section 2. It comes from the Holy Encounter, chapter 8, section 3. But I wanted to see, because there are no accidents. Everything happens perfectly, even the so-called accidents. So I went to see it, and the name of this section in chapter 8, section 2 is called The Difference Between Imprisonment and Freedom. Now, most of you know that I know the course pretty well, and I've never seen this particular section in my life. I'm obviously read it, and so long ago that I don't remember it. The difference between imprisonment and freedom. I never mention it. I never know about it. So I went and take a look at it. And it's the same section that was mentioned earlier in the Ken Wapnick quote. And in paragraph 4, it says, the ego tries to teach you that you want to oppose God's will. Now, this is an unnatural lesson. You can't learn it. And the attempt to learn it violates your own freedom, making you afraid of your own will, because your will is to be free. But to teach to oppose God's will is against your own will. Remember, we were in the 3 lessons that lead right up to God is love, and so am I. Yeah, today's lesson, remember, lesson 100, my part is essential to God's plan for salvation, lesson 100. well, what is my part essential to God's plan for salvation? He tells you in the next lesson. Tomorrow's lesson is lesson 101. God's will for me is perfect happiness. Huh? That's my function? Yeah, to be happy. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Is my function forgiveness? Isn't lesson 121 or 122, one of them is forgiveness is the key to happiness? And what's lesson 102, which we do on Thursday? Well, lesson 102 is, and I share God's will for my happiness, so my will is to be happy. But I don't want to be happy because it says the ego tries to teach you to oppose God's will. To oppose God's will means to be unhappy. I want to suffer. The question is, why would anyone want to suffer? Because you can say, hey, God, and at your hands I suffer. That's right in the course. Jesus says, by your hands, God, I suffer. Look at what you did to me. You know, I loved you. You don't love me. You gave me the wrong parents. You gave me the wrong side of the tracks to live on. You gave others special things that I don't have. You don't love me. Anyway, that's that's what came up for me. But I also put it in the chat because all of this reminds me of a topic that I'm doing on Thursday. I was invited to Bogota to do a Zoom session. I put the link. You can see a picture of me there. This is what they promote to all their members. That David Fishman is coming on Thursday at 10 o'clock Columbia time, Bogota time, and his topic is going to be, remember, we are visitors in this dream. We are visitors from heaven in this dream. I think that's the title. No, the title is "We Are Visitors in This World of Dreams." So my experience is that whenever I volunteer, actually they ask me if I want to do it. Whenever I do something like this, the Holy Spirit gives me something to say. I don't really know what to say. I mean, we're visitors in this world of dreams. So that woman at last night, when she said ACIM, she was the last speaker. And I think that Glenn allowed her to speak because, you know, he said, well, let's extend the time past 9:30. She was the last speaker, and she says, it was given to me, HIM. I said, do you know what HIM is? Heaven in me. Yeah, we're visitors to this world of pain and suffering, but we never left heaven. But we never left. Are we under the rules of this world, the laws of chaos, the laws of sacrifice, which is the laws of the ego? You or me, us or them, good and bad, right and wrong? No. We live under the laws of heaven, creation, our home. We never left. And what is the laws of heaven? All together or not at all. That's unity, union, oneness, sameness, equality. So can I learn anything from this world? Absolutely zero. This world is a denial of the totality of the kingdom. He tells you that in chapter 7, section 7, 12, totality of the kingdom. It says, if you deny your brother a blessing, and I saw you saw the word blessing behind me. If you deny your brother a blessing, you have denied that blessing to you. And in this world, the laws of sacrifice, you or me, us or them, I choose me over you. I don't care if you're blessed, as long as I'm blessed. You gotta laugh. Myrna, over to you.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Uh, yeah, the Course in Miracles, this lesson tells us that that God is incomplete without us. You said that the world is just, we never left heaven. We didn't. That's why the Course tells us it's a dream. We're dreaming for that reason, exactly that reason, that we never left heaven. And until we recognize that we're just dreaming and that's all it really is. And when we put aside, the ego's denial of that, you tell somebody who's not a Course in Miracles student that they're just dreaming and it's not real, they don't accept that because it looks like we're in denial. So we just use other words, you just kind of, speak as, go ahead, you want to say something? Go ahead.
And Wapnick's biggest thing is this course is not for anybody else. This course is only for you. You don't have to tell them it's a dream. It doesn't matter what they think as long as you know it's a dream. Yeah.
Exactly. But you know what? I had to learn through the Course that it's a dream. But I was, even before the Course in Miracles, I used to say that. I think I read a book by Shirley MacLaine. I forgot the name of it. She was also very spiritual minded. What was the name?
The name of the book is Out on a Limb.
Out on a Limb? Okay. In that book, she
But-
says that isn't it all a dream? And that's when it hit me, those words from that book. It's all a dream. And that's when that made sense to me. Somehow, when I read that she had used that as an example, I began to embrace the fact that, it's a dream. And when you really want to face that fact, you can see how clear it really is that it's a dream. Things that just happen, that just nothing stays the same. Things change, just like in a dream. We think it's reality, but it's not. It isn't, because things keep changing and changing. And I think that that's why the Course was so perfect for me. And once I understood that I can accept that, then the Course in Miracles came to light. And when I was reading the Course, and that's exactly precisely what it was saying, it gave me the whole new aspect, a new recognition that I have to learn, that I have to really see what my purpose is. It can't be what I've been taught so far. The ego, what I've been taught by the ego, and we use the ego as an example. The ego is a big word. The ego is the part of us that it accepts everything except the truth. And the truth is really how we become, we can understand that our purpose is far more than what we think it is. I recognize the purpose of all of us together, expressing love, expressing by our thoughts, how important that is, how significant that is. This lesson in A Course in Miracles tells us that God is incomplete. Without the whole, you take a look at the picture. God is incomplete without all of us, because we make up the whole. All of us make up the whole. And, the whole totality, that's the word that you used before. We make that the totality, we make it, all of us do that. And if we're in fragments and we're not recognizing who God is, then God is incomplete. Then I'm thinking, okay, you look at a chain and one link from a chain is missing. It's not good. It doesn't work. You need all its links. Or if you have a food dish and an important ingredient is missing from that dish, it's not the same. It doesn't taste the same. Everything has to have all of its parts in order for it a puzzle. Even a puzzle, if you put a puzzle together and it's missing one little piece, it's not the puzzle. You have to have that last piece, or else it doesn't complete it. So that's how, I kind of use those analogies, seeing that we really need to be unified. in order to, as one. And we already are. That's the wonderful part of it. We are already there. We're already in heaven, heaven in me, heaven in me. I like that. That's something that I'm going to remember. And it's easy to remember that. Him, God, heaven in me. Turn it over to you, Doug.
All righty. Heaven and me, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom aleichem. Now, so the word shalom is the Hebrew word for peace. And of course, the goal of A Course in Miracles is peace. But, peace doesn't have the same meaning as, like the English idea of peace. Like, all right, is there going to be peace, hopefully, in 2033? I hope I see a world of peace. No. In the Hebrew shalom, it has a much deeper meaning. And we once had a gal here. She was only here for maybe a month or two, but she was a Kabbalah student, and the Kabbalah is not the same as the Essenes. The Essenes was the mystic Jewish faith of Jesus' times, and the Kabbalah is the same thing. And in the Kabbalah, the word shalom doesn't just mean, I hope there's peace in 2033. No, shalom has the meaning of there's nothing is missing. There's no pieces of the puzzle that are missing. Nothing is missing. Nothing is broken. Everything is whole and complete now. So when you meet somebody, you say, shalom. So you're saying, I'm whole and complete. You have your conversation. And when you leave, you say, shalom, I'm still whole and complete. Nothing broken, nothing missing, So that's the way you set up a relationship of wholeness, a holy relationship. So talking about that, I was thinking about how, and I know you know the story of the Ten Commandments very well. And if you haven't seen the Netflix thing, it's called Testament, the story of Moses. And I saw it about I don't know, a week ago almost, and I loved it. It's a series. It comes in 3 parts, although the first 2 are much larger. The third part is like half a year series. So in that series, it mentions, of course, that, which everybody knows, that Moses never went over to the promised land. I mean, he's told all of his people, I'm going to take you to the promised land, but everybody went, the new generation went, the people who were born into the promised land mindset went, and he and Miriam, who was his sister, who was very close to him, did not go. And there was one, and Aaron, his brother, did not go. They stayed. They didn't cross the Jordan into the land of milk and honey. That's kind of reminds me of like you and I talking about. I wish this thing happens instead of 2033. Maybe should happen now. What can it happen now? And it reminds me that's exactly what the ego loves to do. Can I see the future, please? No. My favorite saying in the course, which I put in the chat from lesson 135, which Ken Wapnick calls the atonement lesson, paragraph 18, he says, what could you not accept if you but knew that everything that seems to happen, all events, past, present, and even to come, is gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good. So only the ego part of us wants to see what's going to happen in 2033. We never left heaven in the present now. Yeah. You can totally grok. You can totally grok what 2033 is, because you don't have to be caught up in numbers. And only the ego loves numbers. Oh, it's 11 years away, it's 10 years away, it's 8 years away, it's 5 years. When is it going to get here? Reminds you of what kids say in the back seat of a car. Are we there yet? Are we? You gotta laugh. And then I just want to say that my Bogota on Thursday, which starts at 11 o'clock Eastern, that's 10 o'clock Central, that's Bogota time, which will be on YouTube. I did put the links to both YouTube and you can actually attend. Obviously, I put the Zoom session up there as well. So the Zoom is up there. It's uh, if somebody wants it, I put it up there. I'll put it up there again, just in case anyone wants to listen. And it's translated in Spanish. So everything I say is translated. If you don't have any Spanish speaking friends, they might be interested in attending. It's also on YouTube, streaming on YouTube, the same as our program is. And I'll put that up there as well. So with that, I'm going to turn this mic on over to you. Take it away, Myrna.
Okay, question. So Thursday, exactly what time can we tune into this? And what's the link to that? Do we have the link?
11 Eastern, 10, yeah, 11 o'clock Florida time.
Okay, EST, okay. And then how do we tune into it?
Yeah, okay. Please
You
do.
send me the link or do I have it?
No, I just put it there. You see
Oh,
it?
you did? You posted it? Oh, I have to look at the chat. Okay, good. You posted it.
Wait.
May I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think, yeah, it's in the chat and I'm looking to see what we have on Thursday at that time. We might be able to, that is actually Karen's time.
Oh,
And Karen is not going to probably be here. So I could probably just post it through Gather. People could hear it in the room.
That's nice. Okay.
that'd be
Yeah.
great.
I could do that.
Can I ask you a question? You know, I missed Karen yesterday at the meeting. Did something happen that she's not at the meetings anymore?
Well, she's had that surgery and she's just not able to really do anything right now.
She still came to meetings.
Well, when she was still in the hospital
I
and there were nurses and people there helping her. Now there's nobody there helping her. So she is just doing everything and having not an easy time of it.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it might be a while before she actually is able to come back here.
Yeah, I think she said that. I think I heard her say that as well, that she's gonna just take her time with it and that she needs to recuperate. Yeah.
And Lynn, I want to thank you for taking over the session yesterday because even though I was here, I had double dated. I forgot that it was at the exact same time as the eclipse here in New York. And I invited some of my neighbors who were on the other side of the building. I got them some glasses, the glasses for the eclipse. And I invited them to come to my terrace to watch the and they started coming in here exactly around 2:30. I said, "Oh my God." So thank you for taking over the meeting.
It was perfect and perfect timing. Everything was just as it should be. Always, always, always. I wanted to address the thing that we were talking about before. That what Jesus is telling us in the course is that world of peace is here right now. That world where there's no suffering is right here, right now. That world where there is no war is right here, right now. And the only reason we're not experiencing it is because we're experiencing the ego's point of view at everything. And so we see war, we see suffering, we see starvation, we see all these things because we're looking through the eyes of the ego. And that's going to be horrific every time. It's a filter that's going to just show you things that are really not there. And we're going to believe they're there because we believe what the ego tells us. But Jesus tells us right here, right now, we are in heaven. Nothing has changed. The real world is right here, right now. And the way that we learn to see the real world and be here now, which is what it really is, right here, right now, here now, is by allowing the Holy Spirit to reinterpret everything for us. So if we look at war, we can say, war, there's no such thing as war. Because, and it's not a denial, it's a denial of the denial of truth.
Very
The
good.
truth says peace is here, and we're denying the peace and saying, no, I want to look at this, and this is what I want to see. It's because we want to see war, we're seeing war. When we stop wanting to see it, it will not be there, and we'll see something completely different.
I was going to ask you, Lynn, is there a place in the course that you know that says that? And as you said, denial of the denial, I realized that's one of my favorite sections, chapter 21, section 7, called The Last Unanswered Question. And he said, do you not see that all of your misery comes from your strange belief, lie, that you are powerless, meaning that we watch wars and we hope the wars are over before we die. No, 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 no. He says, no, no, no. He said the last unanswered question is, are you willing to see that you denied the truth? And are you willing now to deny the denial of truth? That's the last unanswered question, chapter 21, section 7. Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm
Thank
including
you.
that on Thursday. That's it.
Very good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks
That's
for
Um,
letting me share.
speaking to me. I tell you, Holy Spirit always gives me what to say. Literally.
Yes, I want to say yes, Lynn. Yes, I know that. I know that it doesn't exist. I know that that we're seeing it because we want to see it. My feeling is that because more and more people are recognizing that, and because they're really coming together in seeing that there is nothing to really be fearful of. There is no war. Perhaps maybe it'll take 10 years though for us to really see the peace, because it'll have grown to such a degree that as a collective part of us, the collectiveness will be more advanced at that point, and then we'll see it even less. That's how I interpret, but maybe I'm wrong. So
Yeah, and that could
you
be,
know,
it's just not how I see it. I see it
yeah,
that it is that way now, and the reason that we're seeing it is because we want to see it.
yeah.
Actually, it's when you wake up from the dream, you
Mm,
realize that the war doesn't really mean anything. When you wake up from the dream, you are back in heaven, literally. That's what
mm.
waking up as well. The purpose of the course is to wake up. That's it.
Do
Yep.
you think we're fully awake? Do you feel fully awake?
Well, if you make the war important, you're not, because you're saying, oh, well, look at that, there is a stain on the
Mhm.
purity of God's creation. There's no stain. We put the stain there because we want to, because we see ourselves as weak and we chose to suffer.
I like to think that. I really do. I have to, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
peace
good.
is here now, and we're just seeing through a filter. It's
Mm,
just like, you're looking at the sun through those glasses,
mm.
that they block out all the light, and what you're seeing is something that is um that you wouldn't be able to see, or you would be able to see, it would hurt you otherwise. But so many things you guys were just saying actually were terms that I heard during the eclipse, like totality and I mean, it's just like, yeah, this here's an example to us right here.
Here in New York, there was a saying by all the news anchors. We didn't see totality, but we did have unity. Now, unity and totality are both used in the course a lot. We didn't have totality. Hey, Regis has totality, but we did have unity,
Oh,
which
look at the eclipse.
which
We just
actually,
put that. Oh, look at that. I didn't see the eclipse. Is that what it looked like?
that's
It's
it.
Yeah.
phenomenal.
That's
Wow.
that's
That's
totality.
beautiful.
And there's one other small fact. In totality, you could take your
I'm
glasses off.
looking at it. Look at
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Cannot
Yeah.
Right.
be your eyes cannot be hurt in totality. It's only when there's no totality, like here in New York, it was at 90%. At 90%, you need glasses because what is still going on from the sun can hurt you.
Oh, Regis, yeah, I like that. I see what you say. The moon fits right over the sun
You can take
perfectly.
your glasses off in totality because
Wow.
with the rays of the sun can't hurt you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is interesting. If the moon were smaller,
Yeah,
it would be different.
yeah,
Or if the
Albert
moon were larger.
said it. This universe is so precise that if it was off by 1/10 of 1%, it would all fall apart. That's what
Yeah.
I said. I mean, look at this. The moon is 250,000 miles from here, and it's the exact same size as the sun, which is 93 million miles away, giving people on Earth a chance to see the corona for the first time.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is
I'm glad you
pretty
posted
amazing.
that, Regis.
all the NASA scientists are doing is measuring, measuring, measuring. Only
Mm.
thing you don't measure.
Yep.
If you hear literally as in content, measuring is form. Content is beautiful. It's so beautiful, period.
All right. So, well, thanks you guys. Thank you, Myrna. Thank you, Dove. I'm looking for Ozzy, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the YouTube.
Oh,
Um, and what a wonderful session this has been. I really appreciate you